What's up, everybody? Nolan with Black Diamond Services. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am actually going to separate it into two versions. One with just the cleaning and one explaining my day as far as setup, how I go about this particular job. So as you can see, I have some of my stuff laid out here. These items are what I'm going to be needing to pre-treat the carpet, starting with our pet treatment, Unchained. So Unchained is going to be treating the living room and dining room, which I'll show you here shortly. And then the BioPro, it's an enzyme-based pre-spray, so I'm going to be doing that afterwards after Unchained has been dwelling for a while. Now, there are a lot of products out there that I'm sure work really good. These are the ones I'm familiar with and do a great job for me. So you don't have to specifically use these, but if you want to try them out, definitely go to tmfshop.net. But otherwise, I have used other products before and they work fine. These have just been the best for me in my specific area. As there are some different soil types in the United States, you may have to adjust to see what best fits your needs. So with that being said, Unchained first, BioPro after that, and then this is a odor and stain remover with citrus in it. Now, I'm in the country area, so citrus is gonna help. So I'm gonna be using that, but it's also got some of the pet urine treatment stuff in it as well. So this will be boosting the BioPro pre-spray. So 20 to 30 minute dwell time Unchained, BioPro, and Puro 2 to boost it to go back through and treat all the other carpeted areas. All right, so the next step as far as my setup goes is whenever there's a hard surface in the entryway, I'm gonna go ahead and lay one of my moving blankets down. That way I can wipe my feet as I come in and out, especially if you are cleaning and Scotch guarding a carpet. You want to have your booties, of course, shoe covers, and then a blanket right here on hard surfaces so you can wipe your feet for when you go back in and apply Scotch Guard, break it out, just for any reason. If you need to walk back in, you have something to step on and put your shoe covers on and then move about into the home when the carpet is cleaned. That way you don't track anything on. All right, so next up is going to be the walkthrough. Now, I've already priced this job out. I've already, established what needs to be done. I told you guys earlier that what type of pre-spray I need to use, so let's take a look around. So as you saw when I was explaining the rug or the entry mat here, there's already some staining. So this living room / dining room space here, it needs pet treatment, especially over here. You can see all that brownish area. That is from urine, from when I used my UV light. You can see all that. And then we got a small bedroom over here. It looks like they never picked that up. And so there's lots of stains. And then this room is not so bad. There's just probably general, maybe moderate soil in this space. And then you go on to the other side. This is a modular home, by the way, if you didn't notice that yet. And here's the master bedroom. So this carpet's pretty beat up. They want to clean it and make it last for a little bit longer and then put something different in. So with that being said, we got this and then the master closet. There was a couple little small stains or pet spots right about there, very small, so those ones aren't a big concern. But as you can see where the bed used to lay, the carpet looks pretty new, and then around it, the carpet's fibers are pretty worn out. So that's how you know when you got pile distortion or carpet blooming, whereas the fibers aren't all tight together like over here. And the more you go over here, the more you start to see pits in between it. So once this is clean, it will still look a little darker because now you got all these pits where the light's refracting off of it differently, causing a different appearance. So obviously it's going to be clean, but the appearance is not going to match where the bed was or up against the wall naturally where somebody is not walking. All right, so now that we've established that, the walkthrough, my next step is going to be to thoroughly vacuum this. You could tell that it really needs it. as there's debris, even coins on the floor. So whenever I find coins, or shoot, even nails, I remove those and set them on the closest counter for them to do whatever they need to do with them. Remove anything that may be on the carpet. Usually most things are gone and out of the way, but they were doing some work, I guess, of some sort in here. So this thing, you just want to remove it. So you could see, it looks like somebody out of curiosity started vacuuming and then maybe stopped since we were going to be here. And then there's a bunch of pet dander in that bag. It looks like they emptied this vacuum there. So, and all they did was this little space right here, and that much of it was there. So that's a sure sign why vacuuming is extremely important and why you should do it before you do a professional cleaning. Because I've noticed, even the times in the past comparing to now doing carpet cleaning where I didn't have a CRB, if I was to clean this without vacuuming in a CRB, all this pet dander you see laying around would clump up wet and be even harder to remove from the carpet. But once you vacuum, get a lot of it out dry, and then the CRB will clump it up for you, making it easier for you to vacuum up with your machine. And then you'll have a lot higher success with dander removal and overall appearance of the carpet. Okay, so next step is you want to establish that you have a clean filter bag in your filter. So if you are able to get a filter like this one, this is the Boss filter. This one is I believe exclusively built for TMF, so tmfshop.net. I want to say the builder is Reliabuilt Truck Mounts, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's changed, but these filters are pretty awesome. If you can at least get something to start out with to filter a lot of the debris, it would make a massive difference. And that way you don't have to clean out your baskets all the time, and that way also so much junk isn't flying through it. But if you are able to get this one, it's fantastic, because then you can run two 2-inch hoses from your machine if you do have 2 ports. So if you have a machine that has the 2 ports, one here, you can run 2 2-inch hoses, and I have about 2 25-footers that will run up to that, and then I run a single 2-inch out the front. So the benefits are keeping your inline filters clean. Also, not only that, but you're not going to have so much junk flying through your machine into your waste tank. It is just all around better if you're able to get a filter. Doesn't have to be that one in particular, but if you can get something equivalent, if your machine's this big or similar, has the 2 ports like that, it'll increase your vacuum. So I would suggest doing it, and then having 2 hoses run out to that filter, because your suction and everything will be a little bit better, and you'll be able to do longer hose runs, I believe, as well, because you'll be maintaining your maximum CFMs and lift. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is establish what rinse. Now, not everybody uses rinse. This is just my preference. I feel like it helps, but what you need to establish is what type of rinse do you need for this specific job. So if you could see back there, this one here and that one there, 2 different tanks, and I'll move the line to a different one depending on what I need. So one's for alkaline based and one's for acidic based. So what kind of soil level is this carpet? Is there more urine involved in this carpet than there is soil, or vice versa? So you want to establish that so you can decide what's going to be best for the outcome of the carpet. So in this case, we could tell it's mostly soiled, pretty heavily soiled. So I'm going to stick with the Formula 99, and the reason being, this is no foaming, anti-scalars, corrosion inhibitors, dries to a crystal, no sticky residues, which is amazing, softens fibers. So this is what I want to use because it's highly soiled. Now, if I wanted to use an acidic rinse, or sorry, yeah, acidic rinse, I would use this one. This is a liquid, both of them. But I would use this one for more pet urine related jobs, or something like Berber carpets if I want to lower the risk of browning or anything like that. Now, I've used other rinses again, and I have found some of them work just fine. It's a preference thing. Like I said, these products from this particular company have worked great for me, so I am not going to switch until I find something that is even better. So it's a preference thing. There are a lot of cleaners out there that may do a fantastic job, but since I've been in business, these haven't failed me. But yeah, you want to establish what you need most. Do you need an alkaline rinse because it's heavily soiled, or do you want an acidic rinse because there's a lot of pet urine? Or if it's even low soil and there's pet urine, you can go ahead and use something like Ultimate all fiber rinse, and you'll be squared away and all set, because they both soften the fibers and do a great job for their in particular needs. Next thing I'll do after I've established what rinse I'm using is I'll hook up my line here. So this is just a shut-off line that I have set up to run into the chemical tanks, so I can fill up the one that I need for this particular job. So I do this with the chemical flow turned off. So you want to make sure that you're not getting a reading here, and mine is on the side over here. So that way when you're filling it up, you're just doing it with the clean water from your freshwater tank. And then after that, I'll pre-spray the carpet, and then we'll establish my pre-sprays like I mentioned earlier and start applying those. All right, so the next thing I do is I measure out the amount of stuff I need. So we're starting with the treatment for the urine, correct? So that's what I want to start with. So with this, I am going to do probably at least 32 ounces. So I like to measure it out and be accurate, so that way I'm not overusing or not using enough. I could be sure that I established that correctly, as because if you don't need to use too much, but you'd also want to make sure you're using enough. So I got the 24 ounces, and then it's kind of hard to tell where it's at, but it's probably right about there for eight more ounces to get me my 32. So remember, I'm gonna let this dwell for 20 to 30 minutes in those areas, and then the rest of the carpet is gonna get treated with the BioPro and the Pure O2. All right, so next up is a thorough vacuuming, and I actually stole the line off of my CRB because it's 40 feet plus the 25-ish or so that is on the vacuum already. That way I only have to hook it into one plug-in that's actually right by the front door, and then be able to probably get through the entire house and not have to come back and unplug it again. So I've already brought my CRB with me at the same time as my vacuum, so that way I wasn't walking back and forth as much. All right guys, so at this point of how many times I have emptied my canister, I'm gonna make a little adjustment in my pre-spray now. So I originally stated I'm gonna use Unchained for the pet stains. That part hasn't changed. BioPro because it has enzymes and some citrus in it, and then the Pure O2 because it has a little bit of citrus built into it. Now, while that does a great job for jobs that have a little bit of oily residue issues, but with how much pet dander I have pulled out, and look, just from the time I've been talking, it's almost to the full point again, and I'm still in the living room. I am actually going to boost my pre-spray a little bit more with citrus specifically. So D-limonene, citrus solve, because this is probably never been vacuumed from the last tenant that was in here. I don't know how long that was, a year, 6 months. Wasn't much more than that, because the tenant before this one, I actually cleaned this carpet and it was nowhere near this condition when I cleaned it. So with that being said, I'm going to add a little bit of D-limonene or citrus solve, which is the exact name of the product that I'm using, to my pre-spray to help with any oily residues from, I'm assuming, a bigger dog, because usually bigger dogs are the ones that shed this crazy. So, not knowing exactly what breed it was, I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe and do that. Because look, I already have to empty this here in a second. This is bad. So, sometimes I change my chemistry even after I've established what I feel like I might need. So not big difference, but I'm probably going to add about 4 to 6 ounces to my pre-spray to help with that. So unchained to start, which is going to be all over here, and then there's a little bit over here. These brown spots are actually just soil attracted to urine. And then dwell time, BioPro, citrus solve or D-limonene, and some Puro 2. And then pre-treat everything after the unchained is, my pet treatment has been sitting for a while. I'm at 5 canister dumps so far. Okay, so my next step is going to be putting corner guards, and you see I put my business sticker on them. Because the more that people see your name, the better it is. You want as many impressions of your name so that way it gets imprinted into people's heads. That way they'll more likely remember you. It's why commercials are constantly happening. It's why ads are constantly happening. It's all part of branding. So it's on all of my corner guards. So for the heck of it, I'm even gonna put one here. And these ones have adjustable legs. So if there's a little lip right there for the doorway, I can still set it there and it'll stay in position. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my machine up to pre-spray, and I'm gonna be doing it at about 400 PSI. You don't really need to do much more than that on any job. I mean, you can, but these pre-sprayers are usually set to not handle a whole lot more pressure than that, and 400 PSI at 4-to-1 ratio is what mine is always running, 4-to-1. So I'm getting an even amount of pre-spray in that. Most of them come set to 8-to-1, but I take the little yellow tip out of them that turns it back down or up to 4-to-1.
All right, now that the pet treatment product is down, I'm completely out because I went ahead and used it all on all the areas. So here, what is commonly done when you're adding new pre-spray in is you want to fill it about halfway. That way you can put your pre-treatment in, you know, with the BioPro in this case, and the Puro 2, and then like I said earlier, I'm adding a little bit of delimonene into the mix. So I have this handy holder here so I can easily put my stuff in. So I'm gonna mix this stuff up and get it in there, but then because it's powders, I can shake it up really well before I fill it the rest of the way. All right, so that way you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is the delimonene booster and spotter. So I've got it in here and I'm applying it into my pre-spray mix. So it's just about 6 ounces. This will help me with those pesky oils from the pets. Okay, so the next thing, I'm gonna fill it the rest of the way up. Now, if you're wondering, hey, why didn't you just use your fill line like you did with your chemical tank? Well, with Puro 2, if your machine gets too hot before you fill this up, Puro 2 can combust. So if it gets too hot and then you cover this, you take this inside, if there's no air pockets for it to breathe, or even if there is, if it's hot enough, it will start foaming over and get all over the place. So if this is closed off and it's too hot, it will combust and it will explode on you and create a big mess. So I don't always do this unless my machine hasn't heated the water up more than probably 90 degrees. So for the sake of the video, I turned it off, but next step, I'm gonna prime my chemical and I'm going to meter it around 2.5, maybe 3, just because of how soiled this carpet is. So remember, I'm using the Formula 99, which is the alkaline rinse. So this is gonna help me emulsify everything and rinse everything out and get a better result. So around 2.5, maybe 3 is gonna be my gallons per hour, you know, gallons per hour. And so that'll help me get just the right amount of cleaning agent to rinse this out. So for the sake of the video, I turned it off, but that would be my next step. Remember how bad this entryway was? I haven't done anything besides treat it. So I'm moving on to the CRB next, but you could tell it looks a lot better already because the pre-spray that I used has broken up a lot of the staining and some of the soils. So that way when I CRB it, it's probably gonna look even better, and then when I rinse it, it's gonna be easier to pull out. All right, so when you're utilizing your CRB, it's best to try and tilt it sideways and then plop it down like that before you run it, so you get the brushes rolling before you do just a hard start on the carpet. That will help prolong the life of your CRB. You can see I'm still getting a lot of kick out from pet dander, and I got a ton of it up there from where I already started. So this is why a CRB is extremely helpful in this type of situation. So now I can vacuum that up after I'm done, and this is just a preference thing. There are little canisters that come with this CRB, one that goes in the front and one on the back where the little wheels are at. And I chose to keep them off and just put the roller on here and then a little front cover plate. And the reason being is obviously with these YouTube videos and just the content in general, I like to show it. People like to see it. So it's a preference thing. And when I put this away, I don't have to take those off and clean them out every single time, because they don't, the Velcro strap doesn't seem to fit all the way around when you have those on it too. So I find it to be easier. Again, it's just a preference. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But as you can see, all of that kick out, this is still leftover pet dander that my vacuum did not get. So that's why it's extremely important to have a CRB, or at the very least, get a carpet rake and thoroughly rake all the carpet after you've pre-treated it. That does help as well. Obviously, it's not as fast and as efficient as a counter-rotating brush, which is what I mean by CRB. And again, I put my sticker on the front and the back of this thing. So if somebody's watching me, or of course these YouTube videos, if somebody happens to be watching it that's in my area and they like what they see, they'll see our phone number to call us whenever they're ready to utilize our services. So always be thinking of ways you can brand yourself, because obviously Black Diamond Services, it could be any service. Some people will think, you know, if I put carpet cleaning, tile cleaning in there, that definitely does help. You know, it does really do help, especially for marketing, or I should say ads, because now it's easier for Google, Facebook and such, whatever, to know what it is you do. But we do more than just carpet, tile, or upholstery cleaning. We have a house cleaning division, and we also have dryer vents. And I actually started the business before I could afford these machines, off of window cleaning and gutter cleaning. So we thought Black Diamond Services would be the better choice for us. So if we wanted to add services in, that we could. So because of all the carpet cleaning and stuff like that, I am not currently offering window cleaning until I can get the carpet cleaning side more established, where I don't have to be there every single day. And then I can start bringing those services back into the mix, because a lot of people loved it that we were a one-stop shop. Had that mentioned to me multiple times over the years. Oh, you guys do house cleaning too? Okay, well I need that done on top of the carpets. So then I'll send my house cleaning crew out the first day, depending on how much we have to do. And if it's a small job, then I'll have the carpets done the same day, or tile, upholstery, whatever it is, or the next day. So after a job like that, you know you should dismantle your CRBs, brushes, and clean them out. Because all this junk is within your CRB. See, now that this entryway's been CRB'd, it already looks a ton better. And besides all the stuff I gotta vacuum up, this carpet already looks, I'd say, at least 5 times better than it originally did. Once it's rinsed out, it'll definitely improve more. Now I know this is kind of bad example for why I don't put the little canisters on the CRB, but like I said, for my YouTube videos, the ones that are more of just a straight up cleaning, no talking, people like to see that. It gets called kick out from the CRB, and they also like to see it vacuumed up. So the canisters probably would have been the better choice on this job, since there's so much pet dander and other junk in the carpet that it probably would have went faster. But for the sake of the videos, that's why I do it. I don't mind having to vacuum this stuff up because people want to see it. Makes good for good content, and hopefully can win you some more jobs, because they see all the steps that you take. I've actually gotten a couple clients off of YouTube, and I've already cleaned for them multiple times due to the content that I created showing the steps that I take. So like I said before, I'm going to have 2 versions of this video. One no talking, and some cleaning. And then I'm using a portion of this job for this to establish my steps and why I take them. So I also do a little safety door as part of my setup. So if you got a situation where your van is right out there, exhaust is pointing towards the house, so I would shut the windows for now until you get to the doorway, and you can shut your machine off, so that way the exhaust doesn't come in here. Even though it's empty, you still want to be safe. So this pop-up door fits in most doors unless it's some crazy custom design, and then it also expands to be taller as well. But this helps keeps bugs and the exhaust out. So another step that we take to establish protecting someone's home, just like the corner guards. All right, so now what I do is I am fortunate enough, I have 2 swivel wands in this van. One of them I'm utilizing 8 flow with the jets, and this one I'm utilizing 12 flow, which just means higher output. So when I have a heavily soiled job like this one, I'll utilize my 12 flow to get a faster rinse. Now again, this is a preference thing. Not to say that you have to go out and spend that much money on wands, but this van is also outfitted this way for when there's a large job that Adam and I can do together, meaning I don't have to send out 2 vans and have that extra overhead of him driving another van. So when we get a, you know, let's say, it's not too often that it works out this way for scheduling purposes, but if we get a $2,000 plus job or something like that, and I feel like it could go more efficiently having him with me, and there's no other jobs impeding that, then I'll bring him with me, and we'll have 2 wands in here for carpets and the tile wand, and then I'll have him bring his upholstery tool if we're doing a lot of upholstery. So it's a preference thing. It's not required or needed. You know, you just got to adjust your timing that you spend on the job and do what's best for the job at hand. Depending on how your wand's set up, you know, there's going to be truck mounts that can't handle doing the higher flow, so you're going to want to think about that too. 4 to 8 flow is pretty standard. I think a lot of people probably are using 4 flow. Because of the size of our machines, we standard use 8. So you just got to think about what's best for you and your setup. It's all a matter of preference. There is no wrong way of how to do it. There's just different ways to get things done, depending on what you have in your arsenal to complete the work. So on jobs like this, you want to watch your suction, and if it feels like you're losing some, it might be wise to come out and check your filter, because you could go through a whole job if you're not paying attention and have upwards to probably 40-50% of your suction gone, and therefore you're not getting those dry times. See, I noticed there was a drop and I got all that stuff. Not only did I vacuumed up, but more was coming out as I'm wanding. So it's good to think about this, and this is why I like having a filter, because all this junk would be in my machine and not in here. So this is so much easier to pull the bag out, throw it away, and put a new one in, instead of spending anywhere between 2 and probably 8 minutes cleaning out the inline filter and my other filters just to go back to work. Whereas I could just quickly, maybe in a minute, throw this away, put a new one in, put this cover back on, and get back to work. So another thing I should bring up is, at the time of the filming of this video, it is winter time, so when I'm pre-spraying, I pre-sprayed the whole thing. Now, in the summertime, I wouldn't do the same thing, or at least I wouldn't be shooting a video, or 2 videos I should say, with this, and pre-spray everything, because with the summer heat in my area, at least the last 2 rooms would probably be almost dry, if not dried out from my pre-spray due to the warmth of the weather. So I wouldn't do that in that situation. So if you're in a hot state like I am in California, so areas in Texas, Florida that I'm aware of that get really hot or have very humid weather, you're probably not going to want to do that, because your pre-spray will be dry before you get to it, and it's not the best to do that. It'll be harder to rinse it out. So that's just one last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to pre-spray. So another tip would be, always drain your water where you can, because you don't know, potentially, if you haven't been to the place yet, what and where, if at all, if you're going to be able to drain. So you want to make sure you have enough room in your dirty water reservoir for the next job. So whenever you can, you want to drain. So another tip, if you have a lot of dirty areas, country, like I do, get a hoser and run your vacuum lines through it with the steam line hooked up to it, so you can rinse these off. Or you could do the towel, wrap it around as you're bringing it back in, so that way you can wipe them off well before your next job. Of course, this is something I got to do during the winter time, more so than the summertime, but it is helpful. These 2 lines don't ever go into a house, because they're the ones that run to my filter, so I don't really always have to do them. But I have this side that I always run into the house, so I'm going to definitely want to do it on that side. So just a suggestion, the hoser is helpful for when I get them really dirty and I need to clean them before I go to my next job. Well, I apologize for the lighting, because it is not really helping me out. Massive shadows over there from not having good lighting today, being winter time. It's overcast and it just finished raining. But this carpet cleaned incredibly well. That entry was pretty trashed, and now this carpet is in a living condition now. So I hope all these tips helped you guys out. This is a start to finish. My process, what I take for these jobs, what I do on a specific job like this one with its issues that it had. So I hope that helped you guys a lot. Got my pop-up door left to put away, but otherwise everything else has been put away, and then we're all set to go. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this has been helpful. Anybody new getting into the industry, if this helps you, that was the goal. It is not the only way to do things, but it is one way to successfully get the carpet clean. In this specific instance of what needed to be done, there are many different ways to clean it, different processes that you can use, but specifically for this one that has a lot of pet urine, formerly known as hot water extraction, is going to be the way to go to get that urine out of the carpet. Now, if it was severe urine, of course, I am going to discuss it with the client up front you might want to consider taking care of the source first if the carpet is still salvageable. By that I mean new padding in that area that was over here. Those are things you want to set reasonable expectations for. I can clean the carpet, I cannot clean the padding. You might want to have to replace the padding to potentially keep any new staining from arising from the pad to the carpet and causing issues again, because people are going to walk over that area and it's going to cause any urine that has made its way into the padding to eventually soak back up into the carpet and cause new staining issues. So you got to set those reasonable expectations and make sure people understand what they are and what you're going to do to help them, because we can only clean so much and basically restore their carpet to a certain standard. So if it's really bad, make sure you tell them, hey, if you want me to clean it, this is what I could do for you, but here is my professional suggestion on what you should do next. So always set those expectations, be honest with the client, let them know here's what we can do to help, and then let them make the option that best suits their needs. Are they going to be holding onto this carpet for a long time? Is it still in good condition to where it's salvageable for keeping it for years and years? Those are questions you got to figure out by just with your normal conversation during the pre-inspection when you're coming here to either estimate it or do the job. Before you start, go over those things in detail, note those things in your program. If you're using a CRM, if you're doing everything on paper, make sure you note it, take pictures, take after pictures, take video if you can. If they're okay with it, take video showing what you've done to establish a clean carpet based on that specific job. So those are all things that will be very beneficial to you and will cover yourself in the job, and will make sure that the client understands that you are a professional and you are going to provide a professional service, but there is a level that the carpet will get to that you can only do so much for, and you need to establish that connection with them so they understand that you're going to do the best you can, but there's only so much you can do when it gets really bad. So this helps them understand how you're going to work for them, but it also gives you an opportunity to establish how often they should have it done, because that's important too. If they got a lot of people in the house, or if they just have 2 people in the house but they have 2, 3, or even 4 big dogs, they might want to do it every 6 months, as long as they're keeping up on their vacuuming well. You just got to figure out what's best for them. Don't tell them, oh, you need me every 6 months. They may not. And the more honest you are and upfront about the service, and the more you can give them in detail, they're going to want you back always, because they're going to trust you, because you're giving your honest opinion on what they should do and how they should maintain their carpet. So give them your opinion based on the specific needs of the home, and not just regurgitate the same thing for every home, because not every home is going to be exactly the same. This one had pet urine and a lot of pet dander and oils. The neighbor's house may only be just general soil. So am I going to establish the same pre-spray or the same ground rules per se for how they should maintain the carpet? Nope, I am not. One may only need to be done every year to 18 months, where the other one may need to be done every 6 months. And if it's heavily trafficked and they want to stay on top of it, sometimes quarterly is even necessary if they really want to keep it clean and not have to worry about it. It just depends on what level of clean they want and what their specific situation is. So I hope this information is very, very helpful to those seeking a carpet cleaner, or those who are getting into the business, or even if you work for somebody. These steps could definitely help if you're unaware of them, if they haven't taught you those yet, or if you're trying to get into the business and you want to set yourself up for the best possible clean that you can get. Keep looking around, learn as much as you can, learn from others, not just myself. That's what I did, and I took all the best things that I like and applied it to my business. Like I said, I am not the #1 best carpet cleaner and will never claim to be so, but I'm going to do my best to provide the best service that I can, so that way I can hopefully be perceived that way in people's eyes so they can come back to our business and continuously use us. And that's how I train people when I bring new people on. That's how I trained Adam, and that's how the future people will be trained too. We have high standards, we charge accordingly, and that's what we're going to get out of these jobs every single time. So that until people know that we are the premium service and we provide a premium service at a reasonable rate based on their cleaning needs. So let me know what you guys think this job cost in the comments. Now that you've heard everything from me, what do you think this job cost based on what you saw and what I did? There is about 1,100 square feet of carpet between the master bedroom over there, the closet, all this area here, and then the 2 bedrooms to the right in the hallway there. Let me know what you think the cost is down in the comments. If you made it all the way through this video, thank you. I really do appreciate it. I wanted to put a video like this together for a long time, explaining everything start to finish as a free tool. And so it's just going to be uploaded as a regular video. There will be, obviously, if you're this far, you'll probably notice there's been some ad breaks. That just kind of helps me recoup my costs for the time I took to put the effort into this video. But otherwise, I wanted to do this at least once so people can learn and establish what they feel is right for their business from at least one perspective. And like I said, take classes, learn from other professionals. It's going to benefit you. One way is not the only way. And my way may not be the way that's most comfortable for you. But if it is, you know, I would be happy that it helps you build yourself into a better cleaner or make your business even better too. So I guess that's all I got to say for this. Again, my name is Nolan. This is Black Diamond Services, but thank you. I do truly appreciate you watching. Have a fantastic day. Please let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to see more content like this, I've put it out there as having a subscription kind of thing with exclusive videos that get dropped before everybody else sees them. I've had a couple responses saying yes. It's just very time consuming. All this videoing I did between this one and the one that's going to be strictly cleaning and no talking added probably a good hour and a half to filming, just moving the camera around with my stand and just talking in general. It added probably about an hour and a half to the job. So it's very time consuming. I hope to maybe set that up at some point and add content to it periodically. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. Take care, guys.